Hello again. This is installation number 5, I believe. Could be 6, but I'm not really sure. Well, other than one railing that we had to have to recut, the last piece that I had was just about 4 inches too short. The bridge is completed. We cut all of the tops to exactly 34 inches. We cut the two, opening posts the same height, nice and level, caps on them. All of the posts will have caps as well. But it went pretty well. I'll give you a walkthrough here. Like I said, it pings when you walk on it, but strangely enough, all the railings that I had, I thought for sure I'd have to really fussy cut these things. And boy, about, I would say 3/4 of them, I could just put in place, the holes lined up in the middle of each 4x4 post. I don't know how that happened, but I'm happy for it. So all of the fussy cut boards are in. It has to be cleaned. We'll take mold armor and wash it down so it's all nice and bright, at least to start anyhow. But I changed, this is the 32-inch section that transitions from the 36-inch wide. And I changed a little bit. I didn't like the way it looked with the last like 15 boards staggered. So believe it or not, I unscrewed every single one of them. Put an orange line to the right. You see that double board there, that double white board? That's where the transition kind of ended, and you can see that the walkway goes to the right just a little bit, just because of the roots that were on the bottom. And it looks a lot better. It looks much better, actually, almost like I know what I'm doing. But we have all of the boards now that are in place. They're double screwed, or quad screwed actually, and I think it's pretty good. I'm trying to see, oh yeah, this, I don't know if you can see that little wedge piece right in there, but that's how much of an angle we had to cut to make sure that all of the 4x4 posts didn't hit any root systems underneath there. And to show you how strong the storm was, these are the 4x4 posts that basically married the bridge to the elevated walkway, and you can see it twisted the bolts right out of the top. There were 4 bolts in there, and it just pulled them right out. But I do have the ground spikes that are still there. Those were pulled out, and you can see all the 6-inch bolts. I'm going to give you a walk around, and there's the walkway that takes you to the nature trail, and then to the elevated walkway to Charlie Creek. But I'll go as slow as I can here so you don't get nauseous. And this will give you an indication of how much work this darn thing took. I thought I would be done a lot sooner, but what do I know? It just was a lot of detail work, and no, you know, 1/4 inch off wasn't good. But I think if you look straight down the rails, it's darn good. A couple of the railings have a slight warp to them, but I'm going to pull that out just by squeezing them together and letting them stay there for about a week. But overall, it's really a very strong structure. And again, I'll walk you through it here. I still have a little bit of cleanup on the bottom, but no big deal. Cutting the 4x4 posts was actually pretty easy. I just took a measuring post of 34 inches, landed up against each post, drew a line, and then took the circular saw, made one cut, and then took the Sawzall and cut it through. You can see that one in particular, it's a little bit off, as you can see, but I have a power planer, and I am going to plane that absolutely perfectly flat. Most of them came out really well. I was surprised how nicely it worked. And again, I'll just continue here. And you can see that slight bend right there? That's not my posts being out, that's just that there's a slight warp in the 1x6 or 5/4 stock by 6-inch railing. It's actually decking material, but so far so good. All of the posts line up left and right, nice and level. All of the railings line up. They are right on the bubble, I mean right on the bubble. And there you can see I dropped my rule. I don't know how that happened, but it did. But there's not too much cleanup. I'll pick that up in a second. It's nice and dry. The muck down below is not fully dried out, but you can see, I'm right at the edge here, That's the stuff that I was flopping around in the other day, and it just grabs your shoes and away you go. But anyhow, we'll remove the ladder. I've got a support board actually right where I'm standing now. There's going to be a support board that goes between the joists right under where I'm standing, because I don't know if you can see it, but this post doesn't go all the way to the ground. See that it ends right there, and that's the post that would not fit straight down below. There's what's left of it because of those stupid roots. I just found them. So I just put 4 bolts that go right through the joist. There's washers on both sides. They're lag bolted. They ain't going anywhere. They're nice and tight. The post is level and solid as a rock. You can see my thumb here. I'm shaking it back and forth. It's no big deal. But once I get all of the other railing section, one railing section, she will be done. Then again, we're going to add some post toppers too. So I'll give you one last walkthrough. This is the bridge to Charlie Creek, and it's got a nice starting right here. You can see that little boat, that little dip down. That was planned. Otherwise, you'd have to step up about 13 inches, and I just let it dive into the dirt right here. So a little bit of dirt here, but that's the long and the short of the bridge to Charlie Creek. For all intent and purposes, it is now completely rebuilt. I'm not sure how many hours. The first one took me 100 hours. I think this probably is between 50 and 60 hours, only because I didn't have to do all the cutting of the boards that was already done. That really helped. Trust me, that helped. So that's it. There was the toppers. Looks like the entrance to the old Cedar Point, or probably Euclid Beach, back in Cleveland. So that's it. It's nice and solid. You can rock on it. You can push it back and forth. It's not going to go anywhere. And that's all from Charlie Creek and the reconstruction of the bridge to Charlie Creek. Bye.